If you've never given Super Formula a serious try in iRacing, then this video might just twist your arm into doing it. Now, I don't have any clutch pedals or paddles at the minute, so I have to limp off the starting box. I'm feeling nice and charitable, so there you go, you can have my place, Red Bull man. Generally speaking, until I get a dual clutch paddle or clutch setup of some sort, I'm always going to get mobbed on standing starts here, so that should be resolved soon. As I follow the Red Bull man through side by side turn 1 and 2, he gets a little bit squirrely on the exit. That's the main challenge with these Super Formulas. For very powerful cars, I can take that place back, so the universe has found some balance again. Now that power, while it took away from him, it gives back to me. I love the Super Formula because it's so powerful and fast. Got to treat it with a lot of respect. As we head on to the first chicane, somebody gets it badly wrong and someone else too. Not sure whether they turned or crashed, but either way, you got to be careful, keep your nose clean because these cars are easily damaged. They're so quick, but they're also so fragile. And just following this car through Lesmo 1 and 2, it sounds funny to say this, but Super Formulas do drive quite similarly to GT3s. They're just a whole lot faster, so the same kind of motions that you do with a GT3, they're easily transferable. You've just got to recalibrate your brain to work with these higher speeds and higher downforces. Braking is much more powerful and effective in a Super Formula 2, and as you'll see later in this race, that's where my sort of brain is not yet calibrated to these Super Formulas. I'm not getting the most out of them, but I'm still having a hell of a time doing it. So as we round Parabolica, the end of lap 1, really squirrely and wide there. I do believe that aero wash is also a thing with these things. I noticed later on in the race that when I was following cars through these fast turns, it wasn't gripping up as good as I thought it would be. So there's lots of factors at play here that you never even have to think about in GT car or sports car racing. So down back to turn 1 to start lap 2. Wide of the apex, the tyres jittering over the tarmac there. Exit of turn 2 is probably one of the most dangerous bits in the Super Formula. You've got to keep it in third, which is such a low gear for such a slow corner, but these cars have so much power that mediating that torque that you get is done mainly through controlling the gearbox. Same here, you exit the chicane in 4th, which feels like a low RPM gear, feels like you'd have no power, but you definitely do. There's so much power and thrust behind these cars. It's so addictive after driving relatively slow cars for quite a long time now. So while I got a chance to breathe, let me explain what makes the Super Formula so interesting and has caused me to kind of fall in love with this car really hard and fast. So Super Formulas have essentially a boost system on board that they call overtake. So this is where you have extra power available for you to deploy whenever you like. So it's not like the F1 cars of the current day whereby it's all managed by a deployment plan. You have complete manual control over this, but with some caveats. So you get, in this series at least, you get 200 seconds worth of boost. That's how much time you can spend on boost throughout the duration of a race. You can spend it early, or you can leave it and spend it later on. But whatever the case, you have 200 seconds worth of time. And you're going to see this car that just passed us here, that little light on the back of his car indicated, because it was flashing, that indicated that he was using his overtake. So Super Formula has a deployable boost system called overtake. And you get 200 seconds of it over the course of a race, or whatever they decide to do. I forgot to mention it at the time, but I've already used a little bit of mine, but you'll see it come back later. I do deploy it to basically catch up the tail end of the pack in front. But the caveat of the overtake system is that you can turn it on anytime you like, and you can leave it on for as long as you like. You can spend all 200 seconds of that boost in one go if you like. But what you can't do is you can't just turn it on and off at will. If you turn the overtake system on, and then you turn it off again, you have to wait 100 seconds until you can turn that system back on again. So if you use the overtake, you basically have to commit to quite a long time, otherwise it's going to be really inefficient. If you use your overtake for one lap and then turn it off, you've got to wait for 100 seconds before you can use it again. That's called the overtake retime, and it shows up on the steering wheel as like a bar that climbs up until you're allowed to use that system again. So what this means is that I've just turned the overtake on now. You might be able to see on the steering wheel just at the bottom of the screen, the steering wheel is now showing a green screen with overtake on in yellow writing. I'm using the overtake system now to basically help me close that gap between me and the car in front. I want to spend it early on because it doesn't make any sense to leave it till the end of a race. You can't take it with you. There's no bonus points for having overtake points or seconds left in the system when you cross the finish line. So I'm just going to use it now, catch up to the pack of cars ahead of me so I can grab their slipstream and stay with them. But it's such a lovely system. I've been missing a deployable boost system ever since the LMP1 got retired. I used to love that thing. I wasn't very good at racing it because I just couldn't wrap my head around the regen. This takes all of that away. This isn't regenerative boost. This is just boost that's there for the taking, and you get so many allotted seconds of it per race. So it gives you the extra element of, if you want to just be faster to catch up with somebody, overtake or defend, you have a boost system there to deploy, but you've got to use your brain as to how you use it. So it's a really interesting dynamic of Super Formula that has really given it an edge. If this was an ordinary race like a GT3 or GT4 race at Monza, this would pretty much be it. There's not much chance of me catching up to the cars in front because they've got their own little tow train going on. I would just be in an air sandwich front and back for the whole race duration, and I'd kind of check out because there'd be nothing at stake for me. I would have nothing to break that stalemate and get me caught up to the cars in front unless they start fighting. The overtake system gives me something to break that stalemate. It means that the race is not lost just because I happen to have lost the tow from the cars in front on a nice fast track like this. I can use that system to spend it all at once, jump me up the road by 2 seconds over the course of however long it takes me, and then I can actually start fighting again. So I like it when races aren't just decided in the first few laps. I like it when there's an ability for you to use a tool to change your fortunes, especially in a sprint race like this, which won't have any pit stops, nothing like that. There's no fuel saving to be done, and Monza can go one or two ways. It can be either incredibly exciting or incredibly dull if you just happen to be caught on your own. And thanks to that overtake system, I credit it with the amazing racing that's about to follow in the second half of this race. It really is worth sticking around for. So the Super Formula, just getting into the groove with this now. I've put my overtake back on because I'm going onto the fast straight bits here where I feel like it could do the most good. Slinging it around Parabolica. With the overtake on, the car tops out in 6th on the back straight at Monza. A full 300 kilometers per hour, something like that. That's what makes me feel like this is kind of a Formula 1 light. And you can brake at 100 meters for Monza, so to be going at 300 kilometers per hour and braking at the 100 meters board, that's how much more powerful the brakes are in a car like this, and I'm still adjusting to that. You'll see in the battle that's going to commence shortly, where I lose out is on the brakes, so I have some work to do to kind of modify my behaviour and be a bit more confident and tougher on the brakes to gain some time there. But it's a fun car. If you haven't tried it, I urge you to try it. If you have tried it and didn't like it, go back and try it again. That's basically what I've done. I've been looking for a new flavour of racing on iRacing, and I find myself just landing on something a bit faster with a bit more downforce. I've tried the prototypes, the LMDHs or the LMPs. Tried those recently with the Acura, the Porsche, the Cadillac, and they're good, but they feel a little bit claustrophobic, and I just haven't gelled well with them. I found the Super Formula to be like an old shoe. It just feels like I've been using it for a lot longer than I really have. Right, so if you've got an eagle eye, you can see the overtake on message on the steering wheel goes red. When you have 20 seconds or less of your overtake left to use, it will go red, and it's also visible from the outside as well. All the Super Formulas have like an LED rung on their roll bar. If it's blinking green, you're using your overtake. If it's red, then you're almost out of overtake. So now I have completely slurped up all my overtake. I have no more boost left, but it's gotten me close enough to tail onto the slipstream with the car ahead of me, who has a colour scheme very reminiscent of an 80s tracksuit. So although it looks a little bit further away than it might actually be due to the slightly widened FOV of the roll bar camera, I'm only a few tenths behind him. 5, 4, 3 tenths maybe. Well within slipstream distance. So I've got no boost left, and it remains to be seen whether he has either, because he might use that to escape me. But I'm in the slipstream, and the slipstream seems to be so powerful and effective in these cars. It really promotes making moves like this. So now I'm going to try and kind of crack him loose. I've got no idea what this guy races like. I don't know how strong or clean he is, so I just have to try it. I put myself too wide of him here into Parabolica. I just want to see what happens and see whether he is led into a mistake easily, or it's going to be a little bit tougher than that. He holds the inside really well. I seem to be able to stick with him, and once again we're sucked into that clean air pocket right behind him, slingshot past him and draw alongside. Now it feels like I might have the move done. He's still side by side with me, but as you're about to see, I think he's a little bit more seasoned in this Super Formula car. He's much better on the brakes, holds the outside of turn 1 and the inside of turn 2, squeezes me a little bit here, and I stick to my guns and stay on the inside for the long curved stretch of track that leads into the first proper chicane. He's still alongside me now, lunges on the brakes, much better and more confident on the brakes, so that will save him for the next few handfuls of encounters, but wait and see how that turns out. Into Lesmo 1 and 2. Really addictive corners in this Super Formula, so quick. It suits it so well, these lovely mid-high speed corners. Once again, relentlessly I'm attacking him now. Into the air pocket, he holds the inside, I go on the outside. He's the one that's offline here, so if anybody's going to make a mistake here, it should be him. But he sticks it really well. He actually ends up pulling out a couple of attempts as a result of going through the Ascari chicane completely offline, so credit to him. That's some good driving right there. Into Parabolica once again. Slipstream is so strong, and now I really do feel like I am on his case now. I am annoying, surely to him I'm just #1 enemy. Down the back straight. Once again, the slipstream's strong, but once you pull out of it, you lose that advantage. And is he going to beat me on the brakes again? I think you already know the answer to that. Very confident on the brakes. Holds the inside of turn 1 and slots ahead of me in turn 2. This is now looking like it's going to be a battle of attrition. He doesn't easily make mistakes. He's already proven to me that he knows what he's doing and is clean. So this is great. This is the kind of racing that you get out of bed for. Really enjoyable. I'm really loving this at the time. For a first full race in the Super Formula, what an initiation. This is now proving to me what Super Formula can be like, racing wing to wing. I'm absolutely enjoying this so much, and I wish I kind of recorded it at the time because I was having a great time. Now he's using his overtake. You can see that little blinking red light that you might associate with F1 when they go into harvesting mode. But in Super Formula, that means he's using his overtake, he has a boost. He's using it to try and defend against me and lose me. He's trying to build that gap and break that slipstream. But it's so strong that even though he's using his boost, he's actually dragging me along faster. He's not going to get away from me. He must be feeling like it's so futile now. He's using his boost and I'm still sticking with him. Through Parabolica, he's still leaving it on. He's probably got a lot of his overtake left, whereas I've spent all mine, so it's absolutely critical that I don't make any mistakes and let him build the gap, because if he breaks past that 1 second mark whereby the slipstream stops being effective, he's leaving me behind probably. So once again, side by side into turn 1 and 2, so clean and so close. I gotta respect this guy so much for the racing he's already done. If this had been the end of a fight, it would already be one of the best that I've had in recent memory. So full credit to him. I don't know how we haven't come together. I'm almost impressed with myself for not making a silly mistake under the pressure of attacking so far, but something just really hooked up in this race, and really getting to know the car and falling in love with it. As I said earlier, I think I'll be doing a few more of these. Such a quick and agile, nimble, powerful car. He's still using his overtake, but I'm still sticking with him. I think we're so well matched on pace. I seem to be able to go through Ascari chicane a little bit quicker, mainly on the exit, so maybe that's the GT3 in me coming out, whereby I'm losing time on entry, but because I'm using the throttle well enough in the middle and exit, I'm able to make up that deficit and come back on him. So he's much stronger on the brakes, doesn't seem to be as strong on corner exit and the mid corner. This is obviously helping me out here because that's where I really need to be quick at Monza. In this slipstream again, no more overtake light on the back of him, and we're now going into the final lap. This is lap 11 of this fixed setup sprint race, and again, turn 1 at Monza. I'm on the brakes, but he slices down the inside, very, very confident. That was from quite a long way back as well, that was. Once again, exited turn 2, one of the most dangerous and treacherous bits in the Super Formula. Third gear, modulate the throttle, keep the torque under control. Really close on the back of him now. Heading onto the outside into the chicane we're about to race up on. I'm hoping he's going to make a mistake because it's quite a tight entry on braking. Really on the back of him now. Try and get alongside of him to Lesmo 1 and use that confidence that I know I have in the mid and exit to get the place done. He seems to lose out a little bit on this corner. Maybe the dynamic of following somebody has put him off a little bit, maybe a little bit of aero wash. But either way, there's a little bit of a gap there. But I've been behind him for enough laps to know that I'm not safe here. My slipstream is now going to be benefiting him. I'm going for Ascari. Just need to nail it, not making these silly mistakes. But I feel like that fine line you have to tread to kind of get the best out of your car is even thinner when there's nothing in front of you to focus on. So taking the position from him, he's steaming up on the back of me now slowly like a train. Not close enough to make an overt move into Parabolica, but he catches the back of my car here and sends me a little bit loose. I have to catch it basically twice, but in that mayhem, a third character jumps up on us and takes a place from Tracksuit Man, so I keep my spot and we conclude an amazing battle over the checkered flag. And what a race. I absolutely couldn't ask for a better example of Super Formula. Many thanks to this guy for serving up an amazing battle in this exciting car. This was during the day, so I'm not going to name drop him just in case he's catching a sneaky little race on company time, but if you see this, you know who you are. Good race. Cheers, mate. I was using a GT Mega Prime cockpit and an Asetek SimSports La Prima bundle in this race. You can get 5% off both of their official stores using code DannyLee. Links and more info are in the description. As for me, I'm pretty much sold on the Super Formula. It feels like an F1 car that you can actually drive. No harvesting, no regen, no hybrid systems to worry about. It's both fun and fast once you start to really hook it up. The first couple of times are going to be really rough, but it's worth sticking it out. Give it a shot and take part. And not only that, you also get sweet little pops and bangs on downshift and that.